Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Message in a Bottle. I'm Pilar,
I'm Paloma.
and we are two sisters and best friends who love to stay in touch via what we call message in a bottles, voice notes that we send to each other. And this is kind of our message in a bottle to the world. We're just putting our ideas and thoughts out there and kind of sharing some of our musings and whatnot with y'all. So thanks for joining us again.
Happy to be back at it another week. How are you doing, teacher?
I'm great. I'm in Madrid, which is my happy place, and it's as lovely as ever. As I spoke about last week, I am balancing a lot, which is a lot for me. I'm not really built for that. Some people can really send it, and I just don't. I don't have it in me, but it's all worth it to be here in Madrid. And yeah, it's a glorious time and enjoying all of the great things about being in one of the greatest cities in the world.
Oh my gosh. It's so marvelous. I just love it too much.
I really do though. It's just as good as I remember. That's the nice thing. It's just like really yeah. Good
I
things
wish I
about
could be
Europe.
there with you.
I know, me too. We've had a lot of great times here together.
That's true. And we will have more.
We
Just not at
shall.
this moment.
We shall indeed. How you doing, Teach?
Yeah, doing all right. Also been busy, but doing well overall. Yeah, I've been waking up quite early these last few weeks. So I've just been trying
Woof.
to, capitalize on the morning time, basically.
What are your mornings looking like?
Yeah, I mean, just trying to enjoy them. Sometimes it's not really by choice, but I'm just like, I'm
Mhm.
up.
Are you
What can I do with
seizing it?
this? Yeah, just like trying to be calm, honestly. And it's just nice to be awake and hear the noises of the morning, or try to get some sunlight in my eyes first thing, try to
Mm.
read, those type of things. So yeah, as for anyone who knows me, I am not, I've been a
Not
night person my whole life, and I think I always
totally.
will be, but
Yeah.
maybe it's nice to have these little spells of being a morning person.
The morning has a magical like it's very quiet. It's very it kind of has like a lower like vibration energy.
Totally.
And that's really nice. So if you have to be up, it's kind of like, ooh, you can savor it a little bit.
Yeah. And it's also kind of crazy. Like there's been a lot of days where I've been working when the sun is coming up. And it's also quite an
Yeah.
experience to see the world literally come to life before
hmm
you.
It's I think both sunrises and sunsets are equally magical. There's something really, really beautiful about the light at that time of day. And then yeah, just like seeing the difference in how the day like moves, how things
Mm-hmm.
come to life and watching, those little moments of like people walking to work or yeah, like just like those, the shutters go up. We've been walking to school not that early here, but at like 9:30 and it's still pretty early for Spain, so it's like very much that morning vibe of like the delivery drivers are like pulling up to do their deliveries like a lot of shops are still closed, but some are like starting to open the windows, and the world feels completely different than when we leave school at 1 p.m. and it's like poof, lively and crazy. So those mornings are,
Yeah.
you know,
That's how it was in Buenos Aires as well. I always found it funny because the morning also starts quite late relative to
yeah.
like an American city. And yeah, if you like leave the house at 8:30, you're like, whoa, everything's so quiet out here and everything's closed.
Totally.
How far is the walk to school?
It is 20 minutes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is it
So
weird to
lovely.
not get in your car to go everywhere?
It's amazing. Just another thing I love about it. Yeah, it's the best. It's so relaxing. Sam and I, my husband and I are talking about how like we feel so relaxed when we arrive to our destination. We've just like seen a beautiful scenery and, our bodies feel good and stuff and so much less stressed than when we walk. And we realize people have road rage all over the world. Like the people that have the most or like the most aggro here are the taxi drivers who have to be on the road all day. They're like
Mm-hmm.
really like we've seen multiple just like crash out, like yelling at each other or like yelling at people. Like they're mad because they're on the roads and like the roads are like congested and we're just like, this is so
I mean,
nice.
that's one of the things I love about public transportation is not like you're not having to be in control and you're not having to make decisions.
hmm
And it is exhausting to have to make all of those micro decisions. I will say walking in Manhattan in a very busy part of town like
It's
Midtown, you
yeah.
can recreate what you do on the road, on the
hmm
sidewalk, and
Oh
it
my
can
gosh, yeah.
trigger some of those same things. Like, Firebrook is so slow. I'm gonna go around. Oh, how
Yeah.
dare you?
You gotta
That
pass.
type of thing.
Yeah, and here too, I mean, we're staying very close to Seoul, which is a very, very popping off. And like during the weekends, there's like
Seoul is kind
wall
of
to
like
wall
the Times
people.
Square of Madrid, right?
I would say so, for sure. I'd say
Very
it's
commercial,
very
big,
commercial. I would say it's
big.
less gross. I think like Seoul is slightly gross, but like Times Square is pretty gross. Like, yeah. But it still is like very, very like full on people and like very, very commercial and stuff like that. There's not like the bright lights, but it's all shopping, all just like consume is the vibe. But yeah, it's a
Hilarious.
vibe. Yeah. How often do you go to Times Square?
As infrequently as humanly possible.
Avoid it like the plague.
Yes, 10,000%.
Oh, man.
That's right.
What do you want to start with today?
I don't know. Maybe I'll kick it to you and ask what you've been feeling inspired by in particular, because yeah, you're completely out of your norm, out of your surroundings, outside of our culture. So I'm very curious, what has you feeling inspired after a few weeks in España?
All right. Let me cook here for a second.
Let's go.
I don't know if you read our doc where we drop our ideas.
I'm glancing at what you wrote, and I'm very intrigued to see where you're going to go with this.
So this week I am inspired by none other than the like mildly known institution, worldwide institution, the Catholic Church. Okay, so picture this. Sam and I are having our post-dinner cigarette, as one does.
Sure.
And we are staying in a stunning Airbnb, and we have a little balcony, and we're standing outside, and this like it's 9 p.m. The sun's like it stays late here. So the sun is like starting to fall, but it's still sun in our faces. And we're staying right next to, I don't know if it's a church, basilica, or cathedral. Realize those are all different, but it's some sort of cathedral situation. And we're like smoking our cigarette, and we start to hear the most angelic choir music, like unbelievable. Like I was like, this almost makes me believe. Like I'm just like, oh my God, I'm blown away.
Positively prophetic.
It's gorgeous. And then I like started to think about, I mean, we grew up going to Catholic church, and and I'm definitely not the first person to be inspired by like the pageantry of it. I just love, I mean, it's a timeless aesthetic. They've got the robes, they've got the robes and the colors and the incense. Like it's all like very, and I saw something super funny. Someone posted on TikTok, like the creative director of the Catholic Church, like really cooked, like it's really, really good. Because, okay. And if you've ever seen like Conclave, or you've ever seen like
what is that?
It's a movie. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's a movie about the conclave, which is when they choose the new pope, and all of the cardinals from all of the world gather, and they're all in red, and then the pope is like the one who wears white. So it's like just visually they did this. You should watch it for the visuals. I thought it was really cool. And then it's kind of like tea, like all these, all the side. Stanley Tucci's in it, and the guy who was Hannibal Lecter, I think, is in it.
Okay.
If I'm not, or yeah, I think so. Anyways, there's a bunch of like really good actors in it, but like the look and the feel, like I don't necessarily resonate with the teachings of the Catholic Church, but the look and the feel, I mean, they have stood the test of time, and they really lean into aesthetics, and like they use aesthetics as storytelling.
Is the Catholic Church the ultimate brand?
They've been branding so hard for so long. And
I mean, there are some serious publicists involved as well, right? Like they are trying to maintain that image that they have worked so hard for.
Yeah, this is like, a pretty old institution that's maintained this, this vibe. So
what do they say? Kris Jenner works hard, but the Catholic Church works harder. I don't know.
Literally. Exactly. So that's kind of my inspo for the week. Yeah, just living it. I mean, when you are in Spain, you hear church bells a lot. Like they were just popping off for like 10 minutes. So it's part of the overall atmosphere, I would say.
It's very culturally present in a way that I think in most, I don't mean, maybe I feel like it really depends, because I lived for a bit in Brooklyn, like over the last summer. I lived right across the street from, I believe it's a Protestant church. And all of a sudden I was like, the whole world is religious. I'm like, this place is creating a vibe. And the vibe of that block was very much being shaped by the activities, the singing, the outdoor potlucks that they were having, the free food giveaways they had. This church was hosting block parties, and they were throwing down.
They were like really enjoying
Often.
themselves. Yeah.
Yes. Like there'd be times we're on the phone, you're like, where are you? I'm like, I'm in my living room. That's just the free entertainment happening from across the street at the church.
It was a
So
vibe.
yeah, I mean, maybe it's just that there's a really high concentration there. So the exposure is even more so than here. I'm like, oh yeah, now that I don't live on that block, I'm completely oblivious to the fact that there is, churches around or Christian vibes, whatever. And there, yeah, I think also there's a lot of Catholic holidays and
Oh,
right in
totally.
Spain,
Yeah.
like processions and
Right.
parades and
I mean,
saints, honoring of saints, and
yeah.
pretty old school as far as we would think about it. But it's, yeah, kind of stood the test of time there.
Totally. Yeah. Tomorrow I have school off and a lot of people have work off because it's San Isidro, the patron saint of Madrid. And there's like
Which is
freak.
low-key our dad's favorite saint.
I know. I kind of like thought
Why
about
does he
that.
love San Isidro? He
So
loved him.
yeah, San Isidro is the patron saint of like, well, he was like a
Agriculture, I
worker.
thought.
Yeah, like agriculture, kind of like he was very like yeah, like agricultural. And I don't know all the full story, but he was like labrador, someone told me, like a laborer. Yeah, so he was like of the people, and that really, that kind of humble sainthood vibe. Yeah, because we with them like the Catholicism and all of those symbols like crosses and the saints and stuff were definitely part of our upbringing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think they've been a huge source of inspiration for a lot of artists, whether or not they're like subverting it in like a Madonna type of way,
Sure.
or you know what I mean, like accessorizing with rosaries. Like I think Catholic core is definitely like a vibe.
Yeah, I mean, you've spoken before about what is his name, Willie Chavarria, and certainly a lot of the Chicano culture and look is very much rooted in Catholicism and the rosaries and that type of stuff, and
Yeah.
the gaudiness of it all.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, even if people, aren't necessarily practicing, I think a lot of us have, like my name is a Catholic name. My husband's Samuel is a biblical name. Like a lot of it, there are like, it's impacted a lot of parts of culture when you think about it.
It's everywhere. You just look and you're like, oh, there.
Right.
Yeah. My name Paloma means dove, is a symbol of peace. Very much
Yep.
kind of religious core adjacent.
For sure. So yeah, just kind of thinking about that as
Love
yeah,
that.
kind of like you said, the original brand.
And
Quite
it's
effective.
so unique where you're living in this very modern metropolitan city, and that is foiled with really ancient architecture and this ancient religion and some of the practices that come with that, and a lot more like embedded. And I think that's what a lot of Americans find enticing, honestly, about spending time in Europe, is truly feeling the depth of history that's there relative to being from a country that's so young.
Yeah, it's the fabulous mixture of the hyper modern and the super traditional, like the coexisting of those two worlds, like this super old church and then had this like, the way that they're interpreting San Isidro this year with like free concerts of like modern artists in the streets, and then, like a hyper modern, like embracing like the hyper modern, um, in art, in culinary, in fashion, and then still coexisting with this like really old institution.
So, how will you all be celebrating San Isidro tomorrow?
San Isidro tomorrow. We are going to have lunch with some friends near the river, which is kind of like there's a specific park de San Isidro across the river in Madrid where
I didn't even know Madrid had a river.
yes, it's kind of on the outskirts. It's like
Okay,
kind
okay.
of yeah, it's like
Makes sense why I wouldn't have known it, because
west.
I spent most of
Yeah.
my time in the central
Yeah, it's
areas.
not like it doesn't run through the center. It's like on the west side. And then
Got it.
across the river is like this Parque de San Isidro, I believe, where there's like kind of festivities. People dress up in they're called uh oh gosh, now I'm blanking, but they have specific names for like the women wear these certain dresses and the men wear
Okay.
little vests and like they do chotis, which is like a certain dance. Like there's all these traditions around it. So we're gonna go have lunch on the river so we can kind of like scope the vibe, and then maybe we'll go to that park at some point and like see kind of some of the, stuff that's activity that's happening. It's kind of like a feria, but it's not
Hmm.
quite the feria of Sevilla that's like on that scale, but definitely like some sort of like feria with traditional foods, and I think like kind of like a carnival-ish energy. I've been
Sweet.
once before, but yeah. So, and then I'm hoping to catch, we already saw one free concert, just happened upon it on our way to get frozen yogurt the other night, and that was amazing. And then I saw them setting up for like more free concerts throughout the city. So hoping to catch some of that live music as well. And then, yeah, just soaking up. Like, I feel like it's going to be such a good vibe. The weather is like fantastic right now. And yeah, I think it'll just be a poppin' weekend.
Yeah, just be
So,
out in a boot, and then you'll see all the goodies. That's the walking lifestyle. That is the city lifestyle. Just be
exactly.
out, and things will sparkle around you.
Yes, wherever our feet take us.
There we go. We love it.
What are you inspired by this week, Teach?
Yes, I have thought a bit about this because I could take it many different angles and go into one in specific or go more broad. And I think that the concept that I ultimately have been feeling inspired by is the concept of music videos as art forms, as an
Mhm.
art form. So music video as an art form is what has me feeling inspired. A friend of mine sent me this music video, which was produced by Generation, which is I, the I don't know what you would call it, production house or maybe concept, what have you, behind pretty well known music video producer and cinematographer, director. I don't know what you would
Mhm.
call him. Roma Gavras.
Okay.
He's a French director, and he's very well known for doing a lot of really epic music videos that you've probably seen before. I'll just like rattle up a couple from the past few years. He did MIA's music video for Bad Girls, No Church in the Wild with Jay-Z and Kanye West, Gosh by Jamie XX, and more recently Neo Surf by 070 Shake.
Mhm.
And so this music video that he did recently with Generation was starring Young Lean, who
Mhm.
is a Swedish rapper who's kind of been around in the ether, but I never really knew that much about him. And certainly going to link this music video below, but it is sick.
So good.
Yeah, I just watched it and immediately was like, this is why music videos exist.
Exactly. Yeah. It's gone quite viral.
It has. It certainly has, which is why I think my friend sent
It's
it to
really
me.
fire.
And
Mhm.
then I hadn't had a chance to watch it. And I happened to like watch something else on YouTube. And that was like the very next thing that was being like fed to me because it's, yeah, gone viral because it's so epic.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think I've just been feeling, yeah, inspired by that particular type of art form and going down this rabbit hole of watching a bunch of Roman Gavras's music videos that he's
Mhm.
produced and directed, and he has a very clear vision. Most of the music videos that he has made have huge ensembles
Okay.
with like there was one that I think was somewhere in East Asia, and it was rows and rows and rows and rows of like young boys doing this dance, like
Oh,
all in
wow.
unison. What is also so impressive about the Young Lean music video, in my opinion, is
Mhm.
there's this like the schoolboy nature of it. It's like all takes place inside of a high school, presumably,
Right.
where all of the it's all boys and they're all wearing
Mhm.
uniforms. And then there's these really epic dance scenes. So I tried to find more out about him, and there's not
Mhm.
too much right at the start of the internet. Maybe if I do some further digging deep, but I'm
Mhm.
very curious about his process, his inspiration. I'm very curious about what it takes to pull together huge ensembles. I'm super curious
Mhm.
about the choreographers that he works with to pull off those
Right.
massive dance and movement scenes.
Are a
So
lot of his works like, because that one feels very choreography based, like, that's kind of the
Storm,
Yeah. Are a lot of his music videos, like, very choreography focused, or, like, is that
Yes.
his favorite kind of that's my favorite, dude.
At least from
That's
what
my
I can
tip
tell.
Yeah. That's my favorite type of music video versus, like, kinda corny, like, storytelling when it's, like, just one person singing. Like, I think sick choreography is my favorite
Yes.
manifestation of the art form of music video.
Same here. Well, there's two general themes that I've seen in the ones that I watched. One is the epic choreography, but not just with large ensembles. The
Mhm.
second one is sweeping landscape views
Mm.
of very epic things, like the
Ooh.
Neo Surf 070 Shake music video. I believe they shot in Greece, and the landscape shots are insane. One of the set pieces is a like half sunken boat,
Oh,
massive
wow.
ship. And one of the singers is dancing and singing on top of this. And then you just pan out and you see the scale of this thing. And it's very impressive. I'm sure the location scouting for something like
Mhm.
that and getting all of the cameras in place and all the angles. And likewise for some of those other ones with huge ensembles, the camera placement to get the full magnitude and scale of
Mhm.
that and to shoot in some massive like plaza open space, somewhere in China or something like that is quite an undertaking, I would imagine.
It's so sick. Like, curious about, like, the budgets and stuff, and then it does feel like it's, like, a fun medium to play with, though, because, yeah, you kinda get to shove a bunch of stuff into, like, 3 minutes or something versus having
Yeah.
to, like, you can really, it's enough time to have a story and have direction, but not so much time where it feels less daunting, obviously, than making a full-length feature or something, you know?
Yeah, but at the same time, I think some of these music videos are in the 8 to 10, 12-minute range,
Oh,
and in my
damn.
opinion, almost verging to the short film
Yeah, no, for
category.
sure at that point.
Yeah.
Wow. Really cool. Well, I
Yeah.
wanna check out more of his work because just that one video has, been on my feed and stuff and really,
Yeah.
really love the direction, but would love to check out more of his stuff.
Yeah, we'll link the generation. A lot of the, ones that I mentioned fall under that, like, production house, so I will certainly link their YouTube channel so you can go down the rabbit hole and take a look at all of those. And yeah, if you have music videos that you think are epic that you think we should watch, we'd love for you to throw those into the comments as well. We Yeah, I think I'm one of those people that forgets music videos exist, and then maybe
Mhm.
once a year, I have this moment where I revisit old ones that I love and really had an impact on me at the time and discover new ones, and I love spending a couple hours going down that YouTube rabbit hole, and I find it so awesome when there is a music video that makes it into the mainstream and makes such a big impact, and yeah, it's like more than just the song, it's more than a TV show. There's something very specific about that art form, so
Yeah, no, there absolutely is, and I think you're right, as time has gone on and as, like, short form video has kind of taken over, I think music videos have a little bit gone to the wayside, but clearly there's still a lot of resources and creative minds, creating these pieces, and, it's something I continue to want to consume more of because, yeah, there's a lot of rich stuff happening there.
absolutely.
Right on. Well, great reco. Thanks for sharing.
Faux show.
Or great inspo, I should say.
Yes, love my little inspo moment. So, yeah, I think we have some cool stuff to get into as far as our musings of the week. It's a little bit of a musing, a little bit of a continuation of getting to know us. And yeah, we're going to share with our audience today a little bit about our journeys with the Spanish language. So I might kick it off and
Please.
just start getting into some questions. Well, first, maybe I'll preface with our mutual background as sisters.
Mhm. Yep.
We are both native English speakers. We did not grow up in a Spanish speaking household. I always say that our father is a native Spanish speaker who never taught us. Our mother technically grew up in a Spanish speaking household, but never really spoke it, whereas our dad really did. His connection to the language was much closer, more intimate, and accepting of the language, whereas our mother's was much more of pushing it away and not really accepting it into her life as much. And they never spoke Spanish together. So that's kind of the backdrop is yes, we are Hispanic and have Spanish ancestry, but our we grew up in the US and we spoke English. And I also don't describe myself as a no sabo kid. I don't know
what that is.
Oh, really?
No.
That's okay. That's so interesting because I think that's why this conversation is going to be interesting for our audience, because even you and I, our relationship to the language and our relationship to aspects
to our identity
is so distinct. So
what's a no sabo kid?
Yeah, I'll share this. Sorry, I'm just like, I want to ask you this question, but I'll share what this is. So a no sabo kid, it's kind of a play on words and a little bit of an ironic joke. So in Spanish, to say I don't know is no sé. But the verb is saber. And so it's an irregular verb. So if you don't know how to properly conjugate it and know that it's irregular, you would conjugate it into no sabo. So the joke is that in the US, there's a whole cohort of folks who grew up in Spanish-speaking households who are what they call no sabo kids, who they had some access to the language, but then never really learned it or no sabo. They know a bit of it, but then they get things wrong or something of the sort.
Okay, and interesting.
Yes, it is a whole, and it's very much like a known. It's kind of an identifier that people use.
And I don't know if mom would fall into that. I mean, just to go back to that point for a minute, I think our mom always regretted that she wasn't taught Spanish. And the reason she wasn't taught is because of racism, essentially. Her parents felt like she would be discriminated against, or it was not encouraged in their town at the time to speak Spanish. They wanted to give their kids the best opportunities and so that included not having an accent and not speaking Spanish. So it was, and I think as an adult, she was always really bummed about that.
Well, and I totally agree with all of that. And I actually think the no sabo kid thing is actually a term that is generationally specific to our generation.
Okay.
So kids who grew up in our generation in a Spanish-speaking household, primarily with first generation homes, that would kind of constitute in that. So in a different era where the pressure to assimilate might be a little bit different, but still lingering from the era in which our mother grew up, where that racism was really intense, where the pressure to just be American and speak English kind of pervaded the rhetoric and discourse. So yeah, that is our very high level background of our family and our family's journey with Spanish. So I will just ask you, what are your earliest memories with the Spanish language, either learning it or having exposure to it?
I mean, Dad would say a few words in Spanish, and we would use a few words around the house that were, and that was probably my earliest memory of it. Do you recall that as well?
I remember, practicing parts of the head, parts of the face. Boca, labio, nariz, stuff like that. And the only words from our household that otherwise it was never full sentences. Spanish was used in the home for random inanimate objects. I literally remember, I think I was in, I want to say 2nd grade, and I learned the word in English for dustpan because I only ever knew the word in Spanish that we used in our household.
And overalls. It was
so
overalls,
random.
Dustpan.
Alambre, which we used to the dish rack, but technically alambre just means wire.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
And then in school, I think just
stuff like lagañas, which is actually not a word that doesn't really even exist in English.
Oh, isn't it it's sleep in your eyes
or eye boogers?
So there's not a great word for it in English. So maybe things that that's interesting. And then I would say in school, we just a lot of other Americans didn't start learning it until, when do you start learning it? High school? Middle school?
I think middle school.
Middle school, take a few classes. So not a ton of second language offerings, at least at the schools we went to.
Yeah, definitely not. And the quality of those classes, I don't think was super high. So that's actually my next question, which is, what was your first, I guess, more formal touch point with the language mostly in terms of how much did you care and how much to learn it?
Mhm. I mean, yeah, I'm trying to remember when, like, I took my first Spanish class, and I think it was, like, mandatory if I had to guess, like, at least 1 year of language, and then you got to continue to opt into it, and I chose to, like, continue to opt into it in high school, but, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I remember junior year of high school, my Spanish class was offering a trip to Spain as, like, an optional thing you could do, and I really wanted to go, so I went. And ever since then, I was like, I wanted to continue to be in Spanish classes, but, yeah, I can't, like, pinpoint the beginning, to be honest.
Mhm. But did you immediately connect with the language, or do you feel like it was a lot of work?
I mean, I think it was so basic what we were learning, like, I think it was relatively like, I I think it was a lot of work. I mean, anytime you're learning a language not as a child, I think it's a lot of work. It's hard, but, like, our classes weren't very, like, rigorous or difficult, so
Mhm.
it was, like, pretty easy. It was pretty, like, rudimentary. I never found it, like, too challenging at that time. What do you
Yeah.
think? Like, what was your first experience with it, and what was your relationship to it at the beginning?
Yeah, I think yeah, it was just a path of least resistance. Oh, it's like, oh yeah, everyone like is taking Spanish class. There was like the random people that were going to take French, or I
Mm,
think maybe there was some Mandarin offered, but that was probably the extent of it.
mhm,
And I do always remember being really good at it.
mm,
And
mhm.
I again, it's because with just the fact that with a few things around the household, or maybe hearing our dad talk to our grandparents, we had that just very baseline exposure that, like, the pronunciation was never a problem for
Yeah.
me. And then so I always felt like it was automatic, very easy, and likewise, you said the curriculum wasn't very hard, so I similarly was always just very easy to succeed, but therefore, sometimes it felt limiting because all the kids are having these, basic conversations and can't get those right, and I would get them right, but then there was never too much opportunity to go beyond that or to be challenged.
Mhm.
So I felt like there was a very low ceiling that I hit very quickly in those classes,
Yeah.
and now in retrospect as an adult, I was like, "Wow, what a disservice to someone maybe like myself." I'll speak for myself, or someone like myself that if with the right lessons or with a more conversational format, I really could have thrived and learn more of the language during that time of my life, I think.
Yeah, it's not prioritized in American, uh,
No, not at all.
schooling. I mean, I think most of our teachers were not native speakers, which
I
is
never had a single teacher that was a native
I had
speaker.
the one who took the trip to Spain who,
She was low key kind of senile by the time I came around.
bless her, she was a special woman. She was maybe not the best teacher, but she was a native speaker from Spain, and I actually give her a ton of credit because she took some kids on this trip to Spain, and that pretty much changed the trajectory of my life. So,
True.
shout out to Miss, we won't say her name, but she was very, very, very sweet. But yeah.
Yeah, totally.
So after high school and stuff, did you study Spanish at all?
Okay,
Like college?
there was one language requirement in college,
Mm,
and I took it, and again was woefully overqualified for the level that
wow.
I was put into.
Mhm.
And then I went to Spain to study
Study abroad.
abroad,
Mhm.
and I did take Spanish classes there, but it was kind of weird because I lived in Barcelona,
Mhm.
so they speak Catalan there, and yeah, I felt like my experience in Spain was obviously it was just not my priority. At the end of the day, at that point in my life, the language
Mhm.
was not my priority. And another retrospect moment. Oh, what a shame. That could have been yet another turning point where I really could have, yeah, gotten that exposure and really honed in on the language. Like I thought if I had friends who did homestays,
Yeah.
and you're basically every night at around dinner time, you converse with the family and have that exposure. And I decided to live in a more dorm style situation with a lot of international students. So,
Mhm.
not just with Americans, which I'm grateful for, but the common language was English and the pastime was partying. So,
Yeah, I would say similarly. I didn't take a single one in college. I didn't have the
okay.
requirement. And then studying abroad took probably a single Spanish class when I was in Barcelona. Again, very similar situation, really
Mhm.
just vibing, having a fabulous time, and, like, wanted to learn, but also was, like I was really into my architecture class at the time
Yeah.
and, like, wasn't like, I was learning a lot of cool stuff, and I always loved to learn, but, yeah, I wasn't necessarily I don't feel like I, like, really mastered.
And I think you and I maybe could both say that we had the basics, so we didn't really
Mhm.
need more than that.
We can order. Yeah, we could order, we
Yeah.
could, like, get
Ask simple
around, we could ask for
questions.
directions, like, blah, blah, blah. So, like, baseline, like, we're able to exist in, like, you know, yeah, day-to-day kind of, like, interactions, if you would call it that, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so now as a full-grown adult,
Mhm.
what is your relationship to the language?
Yeah, so when I moved to Spain 8 years ago to be a English teacher, I wanted to learn the language and I made an effort, but I didn't have, a budget to, like, do formal classes, so I pretty much just picked up what I could from my surroundings and, um, I think I soaked up a fair amount considering, like, I wasn't again, I was, like, kind of had a whole crew of expat friends,
Mhm.
and, I did work at a Spanish school where I interacted with a lot of the teachers and picked up a lot in the classroom, honestly, of them teaching the kids in Spanish and the kids trying to speak Spanish to me, and then, like, just, in those 3 years, soaked up a ton of culture and, like, just yeah, almost through osmosis, was able to, like, like, you just, almost without trying. I mean, I tried a little, but I can't say I tried that hard to learn, and yeah, I would love to be fluent, and that's kind of what I'm working towards now, going to Spanish school and kind of doing formal Spanish schooling for the first time since I was in high school, so,
Mhm.
some of these, like, the grammar, there's so much Spanish is such a grammar-focused language, and all the conjugations and
The
all of the
conjugations,
forms,
yeah.
and
There's a
yeah,
reason why
that's
English was chosen as kind of the universal language of world business and stuff like that, because while there's not a lot of rules in English, there are very few conjugations. So, like, the
yeah.
structure of the way that you conjugate present, past tense is quite simplified compared to I know French has, like, 19 different times of conjugation. Spanish has definitely at least 10, if not more.
It's a lot, yeah.
Mhm.
And you in your adult life, what has learning Spanish kind of been like?
Yeah, it's been something I would say more on the back of my mind because post studying abroad in Spain and a few other random trips to Mexico or back to Spain, I haven't spent much time living or traveling in Spanish speaking countries, but it's always, to me, it really feels like it's in my blood.
Mhm. Oh, for
Sounds
sure,
maybe
for
dramatic,
sure.
but it is. I'm
No,
like, it's part
it
of me.
is.
And
Yeah.
I could feel that there.
Mhm.
And so that's why it's always been kind of like bubbling beneath of like, I want to do this. And I always felt kind of maybe like inept or something like that because I look super Latina.
Mhm.
And so I always would have this frustration when people would hear my name and then maybe either try to speak to me in Spanish or ask me if I could. And I always felt this, yeah, sense of shame, honestly, that I
Right.
couldn't speak the language. And it felt like a cultural barrier to
Mhm.
connecting with people or connecting with a part of myself.
Right.
And so, yeah, when I quit my life, as I say, 2 years ago and was in that time leading up to that and really thinking about what I wanted to do with my life, traveling was so top of mind. And I knew it had to be Spanish speaking countries. That was
Mhm.
like, it was like, this is my moment. This is my goal. This is my moment. And yeah, a lot of people say, oh, so you were working and oh, you were, just a traveler. And I'm like, no, I went and I dedicated myself to learning the language.
Mhm.
So I think it's unique from what you're doing in the sense that my teaching was a little bit more, I guess, kind of informal, but I
Totally.
really did dedicate myself to that cause, so to speak. And I worked with a tutor, fortunately, that I had the resources to be able to do that in Argentina and did one-on-one tutoring in person and then remotely throughout my time traveling. and found so many other ways to try to practice and learn.
Mhm.
And yeah.
So, have you done, like, grammar exercises, for example? Or is all of your practice, like, speaking, listening, that type of practice?
Yeah, my tutor, her style was quite informal, I would say.
Mhm.
And I think it was maybe the one-on-one nature of it or maybe just her own personal style. And so it wasn't like worksheet, repeat this sentence with different verbs and conjugate it again and conjugate it again. Very much just practice, fail, repeat in real life in different circumstances. And yeah, I did a lot of volunteering. And so that was I would say, my most immersive experiences,
Mhm.
especially because in those instances and every single time, there was no proficiency in English as a default
Right.
that you could rely upon. And so it was either you communicate this or you don't understand anything.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So where do you feel like you are on your journey now? I mean, you still want to continue?
Yeah. I mean, I feel quite advanced, but a bit at the moment, a bit rusty just because I don't get to speak it too often. But
Mhm.
I actually remember the week that I feel like I truly like solidified the language in my brain, which is trippy. I could feel the connections melding inside my brain.
Wow.
Sounds dramatic, but I genuinely, genuinely feel that
It
way.
takes that time, yeah. It is you're building probably like new neural pathways or something. That's
Yeah.
definitely what it feels like.
And I remember it very distinctly. I would say month 9 or 10
Mhm.
of my travels, AKA month 9 or 10 of completely living in Spanish speaking countries. And at the time I was in Uruguay and I was traveling with a fellow traveler that I had met who he's from Wales. And so he speaks English, Welsh, and he also is half Catalan, so speaks Catalan and
Mhm.
pretty decent Spanish. He and I were kind of traveling together at the time. And so he and I would speak English together. And it was such a reprieve and fun to hang out with him because we were speaking very colloquially in English. So I had been speaking a lot of English, but oftentimes with people who were not native English speakers.
Right.
So there was a certain rapport of like the way that we were joking and just the flavor of English that we were speaking together. So that was part of what was happening. And then he and I were staying in a lot of hostels where there was a ton of Argentinian travelers and folks who were working in Uruguay over the summer. And we were switching back and forth between this very colloquial English to pretty unique and colloquial conversations in Spanish. And it
Mhm.
was those days of back and forth at that higher level that boom, anything anyone would
Clicked.
say to me in any language, my brain was just already knew what it did, already knew what I was saying and would respond and wasn't having to process, stress, think of the word. And yeah, I was sick.
Sick, man. You really improved you really, like, did an incredible job of learning and improving and immersing yourself and, yeah, very, very awesome.
Yeah. Now I feel like it's more a part of me, and I'm curious how you feel
Mhm.
about that too. Or I was going to ask you like when you felt the shift, but for me it's not just oh, I like know how to speak now when someone speaks to me, but it's also the music that I consume,
Mhm.
the content creators that I follow,
Yeah,
the overall content, the things that I know about the world are shaped by the fact that now I can understand this language, which is
totally.
kind of trippy to think about.
I mean, language is culture, yeah. I mean, I think my level of comprehension is super high, and I love that. I love that I can, like, pick up on so much. I still struggle to, like, sometimes say things correctly. So I'm really happy to be doing what I'm doing now, which is some formal grammatical, like, let's get this locked and loaded. But yeah, I would say like because of all of my experience in the past, like I definitely have the best pronunciation in my class and the most fluidity. Kind of I'm able to just kind of like boom, boom, boom. And maybe like there's a few grammatical errors along the way, but I have and like you said, it's that cultural understanding. It's like knowing that this word mixed with this word is like a slang word here, or like knowing, I mean, I know so much nuances about like Spanish slang, specifically Spain Spanish
Right.
culture, and that's so embedded with the language. And you have taught me so much, and you know so much about particularly like Argentine, like
Yes.
pronunciation, colloquialisms, culture. I mean, like you taught me all about mate culture, like things that I
Yeah.
had no idea about, or like specific foods and like how that's related to language, or obviously it's so funny because it's very much like British and American English. In Argentina, they say this. In España, they say this for
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
same thing, like so. Just all of those things have, yeah, absolutely like enriched my understanding, enriched my life. And yeah, I absolutely feel like it's a part of me. My name, we look, you know,
Ironically, you look
Spanish.
kind of Spanish and I look Latina.
Yeah, like we do
From
look
somewhere.
different.
Yeah, someone yesterday, when was it yesterday? Was like, are you Colombian? I was like, nope. Just always so funny. Like, just like of all the countries, you're just like
Colombia. You get Colombian a lot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And yeah, I definitely.
But every country I went to, they wanted me as their own. They're like,
love
are you
that.
Peruvian?
Are you?
Except in Argentina, not so many brown
Not as
folks
much.
there. In the north more so, but anyway, I digress.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's a whole other conversation that could be definitely interesting for us to dive into, is kind
Totally.
of our relationship to our own identities based on even, the way we ended up looking.
Totally.
And whatnot. But yeah, it's really, really a blessing to be continuing to learn, and I will be fluent one day. That is the goal. So I feel like I'm fast tracked. I do.
Well, yesterday I thought I had a glitch in my brain because someone came up to me and spoke to me in Spanish, and I was having such a hard time understanding that. I was getting frustrated. And then I realized that he was Brazilian. I learned that he was Brilliant, and I was like,
Okay.
oh, okay, good. I was like, I'm still well.
But yeah, I encourage everyone out there. I mean, I am so inspired by the fact that I am in a classroom with, and Sam as well. Like we're both in this school, and with people of, all different levels, all different ages, all different backgrounds that are, as adults, working on learning a new language. And it's hard, and you have to like climb the cringe mountain, as they say, and you have to be okay, like you said, speaking like a caveman. You have to be okay being embarrassed. You have to really put yourself out there. And I think
Put
it's
your ego to the side.
you have to have an ego death. Sam was saying that yesterday. He's like,
Oh
you
my
fully
gosh.
you have to have an ego death in order to
put your
death.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's
not just put it to the side. He has to die.
Has to die so that you can put it aside, because it's not about intelligence. It's really, no one's dumb. It's just really hard to learn a new language, and you just have to, it takes time. And
sometimes you get one letter of a word wrong and it means something dirty or naughty.
Right.
And sometimes
then your teacher laughs at you, or a local person laughs at you.
Or you make a cultural faux pas because you
Right.
don't understand the nuance of something. And yeah.
Or you just get tongue-tied, like with a new word. Like I learned a new word the other day, and I was like getting tongue-tied getting it out. Detergent, which is detergente.
Detergente.
That's hard to say.
I used to have really hard time with the words that end in ción because it's like a lot of syllables. Organización.
Organización.
It's a lot of syllables to get out of your mouth.
Totally.
But now, organización. Organización.
Perfecto. Ole. Venga.
Yeah. Language. It's really cool. I'm so grateful to have this skill set now. And truly, I feel like I can connect with so many people.
Absolutely.
That I couldn't
and that's
previously.
the goal.
Yeah. And living in New York, I get asked, I would say on average once a week, for directions at some point on the subway platform in Spanish.
In Spanish. I love that.
Yep. Never in English. No one ever asked me directions in English, but always in Spanish. Someone's like, you're gonna know.
You're gonna be the one.
And sometimes I'm like, I can respond in Spanish, but I don't know how to get there.
I don't know how to get there, but I could say a la derecha, but I don't even know.
El tren cuatro? No sé.
The subway map is too complicated in New York.
It is very complicated. So yeah, for our audience, we would love for you to pop in the comments what your relationship with language is, whether that be your native language, a secondary language, or if you have any aspirations. Or also, I'm always interested in tools that people use to
yes,
learn, practice, etc. So throw those down below.
Best ways to learn, absolutely. And specifically for our purposes, if you have any specific Spanish content that you love, YouTube videos, TV shows, songs, that's of particular interest to us. So,
That's right. We love it. All right,
all
Teach.
right.
Let's wrap
Last,
her on up. Tell us
let's
your
do it.
recommendation of the week, please.
This week, I am recommending an app that I love to use for editing photos. It's the Tezza app. Just shout out to Tezza. She's an absolute queen. Her and her husband developed this app because,
Oh my gosh, I know who you're talking about. You've shared her with me ages ago.
yeah, I've been a follower and like a
Okay.
big admirer of her. She's just an incredible, she studied photography. So she's delved in a lot of things. Like she used to do these collage kits, and I bought one. Collage
Cute.
kits for your wall. That was one of her first businesses, but her and her husband started this developed his app. He's a developer and she's a photographer by trade, also like, an influencer and content creator and artist. She's also a musician. She's like an insanely talented creative. And she kind of saw the void for photo editing apps that were really geared towards your average, just like creative, and also like trying to reach people who she believes everyone is creative by nature, and trying to like make it accessible and make it fun to use these photo editing apps. She said like at the time when they developed the app, the only things that were available were really just like tech heavy and geared really towards like a male audience, and she wanted something that felt like its own brand. And so yeah, that's kind of, it just continues to grow. She's always adding new filters. There's, layouts that you can use. You can edit videos in it, like using different styles, of different types of cameras. And I think just because it's developed by a photographer who knows the needs, it's a really easy to use and fun and enjoyable experience. So I recommend, if you enjoy editing photos as like a little passion or want to get into it, it's a really great place to start. The Tezza app.
Love that. Maybe we'll have to, I assume, pay for that, make an investment, a small investment of sorts.
I believe it is a monthly subscription, yes, on the App Store. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Well, could dabble. Could try that for a little
I don't
while
think it's too crazy to break the bank. Maybe, I think it used to be 4. It might be more now, more like 7. I'm not sure.
inflation, baby.
I know. Hit us all.
I went to my local cafe today and they increased the price of the coffees.
To what?
Well, my dirty chai used to be $5.50 before tax, and now it's $7.
Ouch.
Which is still, unfortunately, cheap for New York
City,
standards.
baby. At least you didn't have to wait in a 2-hour line for it. That's the other tax you pay in that town.
With your time and money.
Oh my gosh. What are you recommending to our audience this week?
Yes, I am going to recommend to our audience to do a little digging in Young Lean. I listened to an interview that he did on the New York Times, one of the New York Times podcasts now. I can't even remember the name. Apologies. I will put it in below. I believe it's called Popcast. And yeah, he did a long format interview with them about a year-ish ago. Really interesting background. So I think just in line with my inspiration of the week, which was this music video that he came out with recently for his song Storm, I recommend finding out more about him as an artist. He has a really interesting, like I said, story and background. He's done some interesting collaborations with folks like Charli XCX, and he recently was in a film kind of debuting a little bit of a maybe acting career of sorts. And yeah, I find he very much has the history of a tortured artist and has struggled with mental health challenges, and has dealt with drug and substance abuse, and has gone on a journey to rehab through sobriety. So maybe not a unique story, so as far as artists go, but an interesting one nonetheless. So I will link that podcast down below, and of course the music video as his art that is out there for us to appreciate.
Awesome. Yeah, I know pretty much nothing about him, so I'm going to do a giant deep dive thanks to your reco, and we'll report back.
Sweet. We love it.
I love that.
Well, I think that was a nice little broken open message in a bottle.
We broke that open.
We broke that open for y'all. Thank you everyone for listening. As always, please like and subscribe. We are on all of the socials. Share us around with folks you might find interesting. Comment below what you found interesting this week, and we'll see y'all next time.
Have a stunning week, y'all. Thank you.